All right, I think we're there. All right, we are live on Facebook. Good afternoon, Piscataway, and welcome to the 12th weekly live stream community chat with the 2020 Dems on Your Side candidates. And thanks for tuning in. My name is Bill Irwin, and I'm running for mayor in this year's Democratic primary. I'm joined by council at-large candidates, Kamula and Nikki Tillman, Ralph Johnson, and Laura Leibowitz is going to be with us very shortly. She was doing some volunteer work this morning at Camp Lamar that normally she'd be working at over the summer, but because of COVID-19, but they were still doing some work to get things set up there. So she should be with us any moment. And hopefully the technology will cooperate. I know there's been no shortage of problems with Cablevision recently, and we've had our own. So hopefully the internet connection will stay stable. As you can see, we've also reserved a seat today for Mayor Waller, though as of yet, he has chosen not to join us. As you may be aware, we wrote to Mayor Waller and the incumbent council candidates about a month and a half ago, requesting a series of debates so that Piscataway voters could hear directly from the people who were running to represent them and find out where they stood on a range of issues facing our community. To date, we've gotten no response. 2 weeks ago, the Good Government Coalition of New Jersey reached out to all of the candidates in this year's Democratic primary in Piscataway, offering to host a debate for us. Now, all of us in column A responded that we would be happy to participate. To my knowledge, neither Mayor Waller nor any of the council candidates running with him have given the Good Government Coalition the courtesy of a reply. I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe they're waiting until, it's too late to set anything up. Like they'll send a reply in Friday so that they can say they did it. Or they'll say, yeah, let's debate on July 8th, after all the votes have already been cast. Remember, this election is happening right now. So, a lot of votes are already in there. More votes are coming in every day. Please fill out those mail ballots and send them in. So, for some reason, they don't want to debate us, nor do they really want to engage with the public. I mean, from time to time, their surrogates will show up on Facebook. You might see them on the Piscataway People page. Oh, how about now? You might see them on the Piscataway People page putting out their line, but you don't see Mayor Waller or the council candidates there. Why not? Are they too good to engage with the regular folks? Is that somehow beneath them? Or are they afraid of what they might hear, when they get into a place where they don't control the room, and the microphone and the speaking time like they do at the council meetings? Well, we're not afraid of our own community. That's why our personal cell numbers and emails are listed on thousands of flyers that have gone out in the mail. I posted my phone and email in Piscataway People the other day, and you know what? People have used them, which is great. Folks have reached out to each of us, either on the phone or through email with their questions and concerns, and we're happy to speak with them. That's how we learn. That's how we work through problems together to come up with solutions. And that is how accessible we will continue to be as your mayor and town council representatives. Hi, Laura.
Hey, how are you?
And that's why we've been having these live streams and inviting your questions. So please do send any questions you have into the chat, and we will try to get to everything that we can. Like last week, we're going to dedicate today's live stream to answering questions that we've either received already or that we received today, some things we haven't had a chance to get to in our other live streams. So how's the video looking now? Can you see everybody? Okay, but so we're not accused of not giving equal time. I'll turn it over to Mayor Waller for a moment to see if he has any comment to make on what we've gone through thus far. Oh, so I'm being told we had set up an empty chair for Mayor Waller, but I'm being told it's not showing on the Facebook Live, which is too bad. So I guess the mayor's feeling a little shy today. Maybe we'll try and check back with him later. So yeah, it's just the four of us on the screen. So now last week we began by answering one of the questions we received most often, which was, tell us more about yourself. How and why did you get involved in running for office? What is your background or experience? that makes you qualified for this position? We gave some pretty long answers to that question last week. So today, in the interest of time, we're going to keep our introductions brief, but I want to share with you, if you want to know more about us or our backgrounds, how we got involved, please go and check out the video of last week's live stream, Q&A with the candidates, part 1, I believe it's called, on the website. It's posted on www.pway2020.com, where you can also learn more about our campaign, view our previous presentations, read our platform, or support or donate to the campaign. And thank you to everyone who has reached out to do that. And of course, today's program will be posted on pway2020.com, where you can find our past programs on pilot tax giveaways, environmental issues and community energy aggregation, open government for all, the tax reval scam parts 1, 2, and 3, unplugging the Waller machine parts 1 and 2, the open forum we had with Piscataway's youth, which was fantastic. If you can watch one, check that one out. And as I mentioned, the question and answer with the candidates, part 1. And today will be part 2, and that'll be posted up there. Okay, so let's get started with some quick introductions from our council candidates. Who would like to go first? Laura, you're not muted, so why don't you go ahead?
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Laura Leibowitz. I am running for town council, and I'm very excited to do so and offer the skills and talents that I have. I've been a teacher for over 30 years. I've been active on the board of my synagogue for over 20 years. I've been active in the Kiwanis Club at both the local and state level. And I really am excited to bring not only my passion for people with special needs and education, as well as the environment, social action, social justice. These are all really important issues to me. They're issues that we deal with every day as human beings and certainly as residents of this town. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Ralph Johnson. I'm running for City Council at large. I live with my family here in Piscataway for nearly 20 years. I'm a lieutenant in the Newark Law Enforcement Agency for 23 and a half years. I'm a former teacher, administrator, youth development coordinator specialist for the cities of Newark, Orange, and Plainfield. I'm also the founder and CEO of an at-risk youth nonprofit organization called the Take Me Away Foundation. I've actively been here in town as a former football and baseball coach, and I currently serve on the Zion Hill Baptist Church Youth and Men's Fellowship Ministry. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Kamula Nikki Tillman. I am a proud resident of Piscataway by way of Newark, East Orange. I always have to get that plug. I'm sorry. I'm a proud native. But I have been living in Piscataway almost 30 years, actually. And I've been involved in the community in a bunch of capacities, with team management, Sage Mom. I have been actively involved in the community, not only as a Middlesex County committee woman for Ward 3, District 2. I've also been involved with some of the councils and leagues with the Piscataway School Board. I'm a former Merrill Lynch employee, so I've used a lot of help with finance and investment. I have switched careers that I love, and that's being an English and special education teacher, being able to advocate for the needs of students and parents of students with disabilities. I also am an active member of Calvary Baptist Church in Morristown, New Jersey, who have really been a support to me through this whole process with my faith and my determination to do what I can with my voice, my gift, and my talents. I'm a proud mom of Kiki Vines, Kayla Vines, and Kendall Tillman, who are products of this phenomenal Piscataway Township school system. And I have always wanted to make things better than they were before I got there. So being involved in the community has allowed me many opportunities to engage with neighbors. That's pretty much what I like the most, is just talking to people, having dialogue, even dialogues of differences, to try to move us to common ground and all make a contribution into making this community great on social economic issues, particularly the youth, our senior citizens, and our vets. We have a large number of vets in this community that often have been forgotten, and just trying to restore those voices in the community by continuing dialogue and making sure that as they are residents in this town, that their needs are met, their cares and concerns are addressed, and that they enjoy being in this community. So that's one of the reasons why I continue to stay involved and use my gifts and talents in this community.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Again, my name is Bill Irwin, and I'm running for mayor because I believe that government should be open and honest and transparent and serve the interests of the people, not the politically connected. I've been a Piscataway resident for over 20 years with my wife, Stacy, and my sons, Billy and Sam, who both attend Piscataway's public schools. Well, Billy just graduated from the high school, so again, shout out and congratulations to all the graduates. We wish you the best in the coming year. I've been an active volunteer in the community, particularly in coaching Little League and rec baseball, and I was proud to be elected twice to the Piscataway Township Board of Education and serve as a volunteer there for 6 years, 4 of them as president of the board. During my time there, we proved that government can be open and transparent and work for the people that it represents by videotaping and broadcasting all of our meetings, inviting the public to participate in all of our committee meetings, and consistently addressing the concerns of the public in a respectful, straightforward, and honest manner. And those are the values that we want to bring to our municipal government. So I'm going to check and see if we've had any immediate questions come in on the live chat. It doesn't look as though we have yet. So let's move right to a question that we've been getting frequently from voters, which is whether or not they have to vote for all the candidates, in a given column. Specifically, some folks have said to us, I want to vote for Joe Biden for president, but he's in column B. Can I still vote for you in column A? Some other folks said, well, I want to vote for Bernie Sanders for president. He's all the way over in column C. Can I still vote for you in column A? Now, I know, Nikki and Laura, you've done a lot of work producing videos about the voting process this year. So do either or both of you want to tackle that one?
I actually got that call from a family, and that was a concern. A lot of times we have criticized our incumbents about voting the line. And one of the things we wanted to encourage people is be an informed voter. Even though we've given you videos and instructions, we always encourage you to read the details for yourself. They do outline and tell you exactly how to vote. The videos are helpful. But again, just paying attention to the details of what is required on that ballot, because it is essential. And making one small error could technically null and void your voice and your vote, and we don't want that. But yeah, you can actually choose the candidates in column A and still choose a presidential candidate. Also, if you look at your ballot under those candidates, because people had asked me about Joe Biden, who is no longer running, but there are delegates there that are mentioned. Even if you wanted to vote for a particular,
You mean Bernie Sanders?
Bernie Sanders, sorry. I'm so tired, y'all, for real. But Bernie Sanders, if you look closely on your ballot, you'll see that there are people that are chosen as delegates. So again, it's an opportunity for you to use your voice in a variety of capacities to make sure that you're heard. God, what did I say?
You said, whatever, it's fine. Joe Biden is still
running. Y'all, I'm not no politician. Joe Biden.
Thank you, Nick. I didn't mean to be. But the reality is that New Jersey is the only state that has a ballot like this, where you have all of these columns so that your eye and your mind is tricked and manipulated as to thinking that you must, that's the way your mind works. It tries to make patterns out of things. Mm-hmm. So you just go through, who do you want for each position? Absolutely. Right? Look down, president, senator, mm-hmm. Congress, mm-hmm. freeholder, and mayor and county committee, and pick each person. And please know that if you did not yet get your ballot, you really need to reach out by Tuesday, you need to call that county office. I was just talking to my neighbor this morning, and 4 of the 5 voters in his house got their ballots, but 1 did not. So please also reach out and make sure that every voter in your house gets the opportunity to express their voice.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. And just to add to that, I was having a conversation with a voter recently, one who reached out via email, saw it posted on Piscataway and said, hey, since you posted your email on Piscataway people, here's some questions. She had concerns about speeding over by Eisenhower School and the traffic on Stelton Road in that area. And we spoke with those for a while, talked about possible solutions. Thus far, she's been getting run in a lot of different directions and hasn't been able to get much done. But I think that's the sort of problem that we can work on together. But she had a great suggestion, which was, everyone's kind of conditioned in New Jersey to look down, like to look at the ballot vertically. And that's been pushed on folks. That idea of a line. I was actually reading some of the history today. It was kind of interesting where there was a change in that in the early 80s, but then they sort of changed it back because it's easier to control that way. She said, tell folks just to start thinking of the ballot horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at it horizontally. Like there's the office over here, president, and just start reading left to right, like you would read anything else. And you're like, oh, all right, that's the one I want there. Okay, here's senator. Okay, I want this one over here. And at the end, you may find that you've done what's called split ticket voting. Like you've chosen one for this column, and that's fine. That's your right to do. Vote for the person for each office that you want. That you feel will represent you. We do support the other candidates that have been running with us in column A, but I think it's very important that in New Jersey, at least until they start designing the ballot in a sensible way, like they do in other places where just it's each office that's listed, and it encourages people to look at that office and vote for who you want. Until that happens, we kind of have to break this mentality of, and you're done. Like, give some thought to each office. That's important.
Right. And again, this is one of those strategies that we told you before that the incumbents rely on voting a line and positioning yourself on the line. They rely on you as voters to be ignorant. Like, we can't read a damn ballot. And you know what I'm saying? Read the ballot. That's why I said it's important. Yes, the videos were there to give you a quick snapshot, but please, people, read your ballots. The details, the instructions, everything is there so that your voice is exactly recorded the way you intended it to be recorded.
Each of you,
Bill, go ahead, Ralph. I'm sorry.
I want to comment. I thought what was tremendous and just what happened now in giving out the information between Nikki and Laura. We made a typical mistake, but we owned it. You didn't double down. You didn't, because the information is the most important thing. And that's what I love, because we always constantly say, we're not politicians, we're everyday people who represent you. And I think that was the most important part of that message, is saying, yes, you can vote in other areas, but please read the ballot and be specific about those offices because they affect you. So I thank you for that. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback, so I'm glad it was helpful, because that's all we wanted to do, to make sure that we were able to help.
Since we're on that topic, we also wanted to share with folks information on getting a replacement ballot. A lot of this is the first time that a lot of folks are voting by mail, and the process can be a little confusing, can be intimidating. You can mark your ballot incorrectly, and now you're saying, oh, now what do I do? Or you seal up the envelope and you forgot to put the ballot in there. Now you've got another problem. You can request a replacement ballot. You can get a duplicate. Now you can only send in one, or you can only mail in one ballot. But if you had, maybe you didn't realize it was the vote by mail ballot and you threw it away when it came in, and now you're like, boy, I'd kind of like to have that back so I could vote. You can call 732-745-4202. That's the Division of Elections down at the county clerk's office. You may have difficulty getting through on that number. I'll warn you now. It's kind of hit or miss. Or you could go to, we've created a short form URL, www.tinyurl.com, need ballot, to download the request form. And I'm gonna see if this works. I'm gonna try and, oh, hang on a second. Give me just one moment. There we go. So let's see what happens, if we do that. We'll type in www.tinyurl.com/need ballot.
Real time.
And that takes you to this form. Office of the County Clerk. You see, I request a replacement ballot because I didn't receive my ballot. It's torn, incorrectly marked or damaged, is misplaced, or some other reason. Fill it out and you sign it. And it says here that you can send this form by mail, fax, or email. So now it's unclear to me if the deadline for requesting a replacement ballot is the same as requesting a vote by mail ballot to begin with, which it would be June 30th, rather.
Right.
You can always do it in person if you go down to the county clerk's office. But if you email, it should get there very quickly and you should get a response. So that's one way to do it. Another way, if you just Google Middlesex County replacement ballot, let's see what we get. Vote 2020 at middlesexcounty.gov brings you to their Vote 2020, and there's a link for replacement ballot form, and that brings you to the same page that I just showed you. You see the URL is very, very, very long, so that's why we created the tiny one, so you can just go to www.tinyurl.com/need ballot. Good and an easier way to get that done. And also, I guess while we're on the subject, just a shout out to the folks at the Middlesex County Board of Elections. They're doing a terrific job. They are working hard under difficult circumstances. And it's the first time that New Jersey is trying to do this. There could be any number of difficulties, but it's not from a lack of effort on their part. I was down there on Friday. For folks that worry about the security of the vote by mail ballot, in my opinion, it is far more secure than the regular voting booth on election day. They have every single one of those ballots. They keep track of every ballot that they've sent out, every ballot that they've received, and that information is public. You can download, they're supposed to update that list every day on the county clerk's website, but it gets updated pretty frequently. You can see who got ballots, who returned ballots. So you can even, you can track your own ballot. I sent in my ballot. Is it marked as returned? And if for some reason there's a problem with it, that gets marked as returned but rejected, that information is there as well. You can track your ballot all the way through the process, and there's a complete paper trail. So, I think that voting by mail, it expands the franchise. It gives more people, the opportunity really to get that ballot in. And it's, I think in the future, we're going to get the state and the government will get better and better at the process. And it's a great thing to have. People should be getting vote by mail ballots automatically so we can get more folks involved in the election. But again, I wanted to thank the folks at the Middlesex County Board of Elections, especially Thomas Lynch, the administrator down there, Linda in the office. So when I tell you they're putting in the works, folks, I mean, they're there now. They're working on the weekends up to the election. They're getting back to email requests way after hours. I mean, way after hours, like an email at midnight. They're really putting in the work. So, all right. I see we're about 25 minutes in, so that's all good voting information. And on pway2020.com, we're going to put up a page today with Q&A and more information on voting. So do we have a question that came in through Facebook? Okay, there was a question that came in. Can you talk about municipal broadband for our town? Other places have tried to break up the cable monopoly. And this, again, we talked about Cablevision a little bit up front. I've actually kind of looked into this a little bit recently, so unless anyone has a specific opinion on that,
Uh,
go ahead.
Well, I know Stacy and I, when we were out canvassing, we used to, actually after we became county committee women, we were having these chat and choose. And that was a recurring concern that was coming up about the Optimum Cablevision. I found out that the cable company is like Optimum, but it's like Altice that's really running the internet part. It's a Canadian company. So it's almost like Optimum is here and they're like, oh no, we don't do that part, that's Altice. So that makes the dynamic of trying to fight this even more difficult. But I believe one of the ways we can do that is address the concern. Like there's I think it's the FCC you have to go through. There might be petitions. So the process is new to us, but we do hear you loud and clear about the concerns of not having, once again, options in Piscataway Township for internet, especially now during COVID-19. It was horrible. And even during our live feed. So we do hear you loud and clear. Again, we're new to this game, but we do know how to read and research. So there are steps going in that direction to figure out how we can make the cable and internet service providers here a little more competitive by bringing in or allowing other options. It's strange that in some parts of Piscataway, you can get Verizon Fios, but in others you can't. So even that whole disparity is something that we'd have to really research and look. But it's definitely something that I truly support and propose, that we find a way to find other providers that will give us quality service for our money. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki. I think it was Syed Rizvi and Piscataway people that had tagged me and asked a question. I posted an answer to him there in writing. You know, here I'll just add that, you know, the problem is lack of choice. Right, there's one real broadband provider. You know, there's other ways to get on the internet, but it's not true broadband. You know, the speeds are slow, with the exception of Verizon Fios, but that's only offered in a very small part of Piscataway. It's not clear to me why Verizon didn't choose to roll out that option throughout Piscataway. Maybe they thought it wouldn't be profitable. Maybe there were regulatory obstacles, but certainly it would be great if the township could find some way to encourage them to do so, because then at least you have a choice and you have some real competition. I think it would be, you know, municipal broadband. There's certainly a lot of technical challenges involved in there. The first would be, are you constructing a wired or a wireless network? You know, right now Cablevision owns the transmission lines, right? So they're certainly not going to let some competition in on their transmission lines unless they're forced to. So to actually lay the infrastructure and maintain it would be a pretty enormous task. Now, part of the potential of 5G or maybe later iterations of the wireless network would be the possibility of building municipal broadband that's delivered wirelessly. Now, there's no shortage of technical challenges on that, but we do have a top research university right here in Piscataway, and it seems like the sort of thing that you know, maybe a panel of experts convened for that purpose. Some good RU engineers. I'm a proud RU alum. I don't think there's a problem they can't solve. We've seen the great work they've done recently on COVID-19. You know, that's something that maybe we could look into collaboratively with them. Say, okay, what can we do in the future? And let's look forward. Where's the technology going? How can we solve this problem? Because, you know, ultimately you can't have just a complete lack of choice for people. When you get into this monopoly situation, and, you know, sometimes you get regulatory capture on the boards that are supposed to be overseeing the regulated monopoly. And, you know, you certainly need advocacy at the state level as well. You know, I think municipal officials can push their legislative district officials and the state official, you know, talk to the BPU, talk to the governor. You know, at the very least, I think that in places where there's an effective monopoly on broadband, then that company should be required to offer service at, you know, for the people in that community at the lowest introductory rates that they're currently offered. You know how they say, okay, we'll sign up for a year and you get this low rate, and then we're gonna triple your bill as soon as that is out. Well, you should get that rate permanently if you don't actually have a choice, because that rate basically mimics what happens when there's competition, right? In places where there's competition, they have to put that rate out there. Verizon puts that rate out there because they want to attract customers. They want to get people into Verizon. They want to get people into Cablevision. So if, that shows the benefit of competition, that tends to drive the price down, and people compete on both price and service. Did we have any more media questions on the Facebook Live? It doesn't look like we have at the moment. So let's see, that I feel like there was something I want to mention, but it'll come to me or not. So another question that has come into us both in email and on Facebook, and this is one I'm gonna toss out to the candidates because I'm sure the council candidates, I'm sure have a lot of opinions on this. Your opponents say you aren't Democrats or you're from a different party. What does being a Democrat mean to you?
Who's taking this?
Well, I'll jump to it. I hear that quite often. Oh, you call yourselves progressive Democrats. What does that mean? Well, we'll say, just think of it. We try to hold on to the core crafts of the Democratic Party. We're a grassroots organization. We reach out to the people at where they're at. Unfortunately, with COVID, we can't go door to door, so we went to the next best thing and trying to come to you wirelessly and through the internet using technology. But, we believe in economic and electoral reforms, fair trade, workers and environmental rights, basic things. But we also don't vote strictly party lines, as we just mentioned earlier. We vote for the right candidate to do the right job. Obviously, I oppose wars and occupations elsewhere when the people at home here can benefit from those things. And now you actually start seeing some of these things manifesting. Hey, let's start looking at where we invest money, and let's invest in our future, invest in our kids, invest in infrastructure. So to what we think are basic rights and the core of democratic values, that's what we represent, not these incumbents that consistently look at self-interest and then go against what the people need. So if that's a bad thing, then I'm sorry. But as a Democratic representative for the Dems that are on your side, this is what we are. But I could turn that over to Mayor Wallers. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. He didn't want to answer. I'm sorry.
I'll jump on this. First of all, I have been a registered Democrat my entire life. I have voted blue, only blue, everywhere I've been. I lived in Highland Park, then I moved to Piscataway, and absolutely, I've been a long and hard-working Democrat. I went to see Jimmy Carter when he came through New Brunswick in the 80s. I cut school and I walked down to the New Brunswick train station. Absolutely. And we all understand Basic Civics 101. We are in a primary. In a primary, candidates compete against one another to get the position for the party. This is the time in a democratic process to put forth your ideas, your platform, what you believe in, and then you let the voters decide on the strongest candidate. It happens from the national level all the way down to the township, and even into those of us that have run for student government in our day. I have been running for office since I'm a teenager. I ran at national conventions for organizations that I was a part of. This is how the process works. You get out there, you have a set of values that you believe in. I believe in unions. I believe in social justice. I believe in environmental justice. I believe in taking care of our climate. I believe in women's reproductive rights. These are all things that the Democratic Party stands for, that I stand for, and I am 110% a long-standing Democrat. Thank you.
Just to echo what Laura and Ralph said, when I think about Democrat, I think about the Merriam-Webster's definition. It's someone who believes in equality for all, and all of us have those similar platforms and issues that we agree are essential to just being an American, whether you're Democrat or Republican. I too have voted traditionally Democrat, only because the values of the Democratic Party have always aligned with my values. The concerns that affected me as an African-American female have always aligned with the Democratic Party. Today, in Piscataway in particular, and across the state, you'll see adjectives in front of that. Regardless of the adjective that you put in front, we're still Democrats. So the fact that the incumbents continue to say that we're not Democrats bothers me. And it bothers me because I realize that putting that word progressive sets us apart, because we do not operate in the manner that they, as regular Democrats, operate. A lot of their decision-making, a lot of their policies and initiatives have aligned more with moderate conservatives than it has been to Democrats. So I've always said to you, we're not dividing the party, we're not splitting the town. The Democrats left the people. So we are the remnants of those who have left behind and decided to pick up the bloodstained banner of democracy and say, we're gonna forge ahead. Things have changed, but democracy is still democracy. The progressiveness just allows us to be cognizant of what's going on around us. The issues are still there. The only difference is a lot of those issues have broadened to affect more groups of people. It's not just African Americans. It's not just women. We have our Muslim brothers and sisters. We have the Hindu population. So the progressive values just make us cognizant that this community and this world is ever changing. And we have to keep up with the population that are in our country, regardless of how they got here. They're here now, and we have to coexist. And I think the closest thing that allows us to do this is democracy. The closest party that has embraced the diversity of this country and the needs and concerns of a variety of different subgroups is the Democratic Party. That's why I stay a Democrat. That's why our platform consistently aligns with the traditional support of the Democrats. I know you guys keep saying, but you're socialists. I hear you, my owners and my Republican brothers and sisters. We talked. I hear you. That word has traditionally been synonymous to what Democratic Party is. However, if you look at it very closely, you'll see that that's not the case. Progressive and socialism are not really the same thing. And my Republican brothers and sisters, I know I chatted with you guys. Some of you had me on the phone for an hour and a half. It's just that we care about humans. That's all it is. The Democratic Party traditionally take people over profits and positions. That's just, if you want to call it socialist, you can, but I will respectfully disagree. And that is why, as a African-American woman, I've always aligned myself with the Democratic Party because they have aligned themselves to me.
Excellent, thank you. And you know, Nick, I've got to hand it to you. You'll spend an hour and a half on the phone without hesitation with a voter who can't even vote for you in this election, right? Registered Republican can't vote in the Democratic primary, but they want to talk. They live here too, right? They're in Piscataway too. You're going to spend time talking with them and finding out, you know, what their point of view is. Even not just for a vote, they can't vote for you.
Right, but
I respect that.
But the point of doing that was exactly what I'm promoting, that we continue dialogue. Because in speaking with that gentleman for an hour and a half, we found that there were a lot of things we did agree about, even with the police brutality case. So there was a lot of common ground, but we have to engage in those uncomfortable conversations. Not that I have to make you right and you're wrong. It's just to have dialogue. We can agree to disagree, but I told him in closing, regardless, there's one thing we have in common. We're still here in Piscataway. You are my neighbor. We may disagree, but I'm gonna still come to your house for a cup of sugar. And it's those type of conversations that I wanted to model for that gentleman, because he even said, you know, I might consider voting for you guys in this election. And it just blew me away. But why did that happen? Because I opened myself up to conversation that was challenging. I opened myself up to the opportunity to just dialogue with someone, knowing that we would not agree on everything. And that is okay. We're not robots. We're not here on this earth to be so absolute. Just trying to have those gray areas merge together as often as we can is what this community needs in order to continue to thrive. And I think that's what we're trying to push for.
Absolutely. And Steve and Courtney, we see your questions. We're going to get to them right away. I just want to add a little bit on this topic. You know, our opponent saying you're not Democrats. Frankly, it's ridiculous. You know, we're all registered Democrats. you know, who gets to decide what's a Democrat? Like you, like only the folks that are in charge and have a certain point of view, like they get to decide who's a Democrat and who's not. You know, what's a progressive Democrat? Well, these days it seems like more and more people want to be that. I got a flyer in the mail from Congressman Pallone the other day, right? Say big headline, progressive Democrat, Frank Pallone for Congress. I was like, all right, well,
I know.
And
welcome aboard.
And he was with them. All right, so I'm just saying.
And you know, you saw in New York the primary results there. You know, great day for the progressive wing of the party. You know, and you can't just start appropriating that label because you think it's getting popular without walking the walk. You know, where's the progressive movement now? Well, Congressman Pallone, it's in advancing HR 671, Medicare for all. That's where the progressive movements are at. We want healthcare. You know, it's about advocating for a Green New Deal. There's a lot of really forward-thinking legislation and forward-thinking that, you know, progressive progress. The word is right there. You know, we believe the Democratic Party historically has been the party that's been pushing things forward, you know, at least from the New Deal era on. You know, Social Security, right? Medicare, Medicaid, Great Society, civil rights. Like these were Democratic initiatives. And our belief is that the roots of the Democratic Party are in trying to make progress, to trying to move forward. You know, history didn't end in 1980. That there's more to be done. And it's the role of Democrats to be pushing those boundaries, to push forward. What can we do to create a better society? And when you look at what happened in the 90s and the 2000s, the Democratic Party kind of drifted further and further to the right, or, you know, the center, because they thought they had to do that to win elections. Now, you know, the whole Clinton triangulation strategy in the 90s, it worked for a while, but at what cost? You know, at the cost of a lot of principles. And, you know, I'm not saying that the establishment Democratic Party hasn't made some great progress at the national level. Obamacare was a major leap forward. You know, the Affordable Care Act was a major initiative, and it would have gotten a public option in it when it was passed originally if it wasn't for Lieberman, a Democratic senator from, you know, Connecticut, who bailed on that. He would have been the 60th vote to override the filibuster. But so we believe in things that move the party forward. And some of the stuff on Facebook, it's so silly. You know, there was one person kept calling us the Revolution Party. Like, really? You know, to that I respond, check out our platform for Piscataway. You know, we want to broadcast the town council meetings and post all the minutes and agendas and everything online. We want to be responsive to residents. I mean, if you think that's revolutionary in the place that you live in, well, you may be in need of a revolution. You know, we're talking some real basic democratic stuff here. So, all right. So, Steve Bullock, can you send or share a link to track vote by mail? Excellent question. I'm going to try once again to push the bounds of my Zooming. So, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Give me one more second. Get rid of this. Put up this. And
While Bill pulls that up, that's an excellent question, because a lot of people, like you said, are really afraid to vote by mail. They don't trust it. I just want to encourage you guys that this is one of the ways that you can use to really track your vote. Another way that we haven't really talked about much that has been declared, is it still the police department where as a secure Dropbox location?
Yeah.
Yes, and the senior center.
center as well.
All right, so the senior center. So there are other places if you don't trust the mail, because I know people say, yeah, but I saw on Facebook that they found mail on the side of the road, and I get it. But Bill is going to show you now how you can actually track that.
I'm going to try. I think we got the link. So if you Google Middlesex County vote by mail, all right, that's going to bring you to this. The first thing that comes up, county clerk vote by mail list. So if you click on that, all right, vote by mail list availability. So now you are going to have to submit a request for a password. But if you click primary election 2020 mail-in ballot list, let's see what happens here. That brings you to a OneDrive. Here, primary election, Old Bridge to Piscataway. All right, so you click that and you download that CSV, and then you go to open that CSV. And it will be password protected. And let's see what happens now. Okay, so is this actually showing on the screen, the spreadsheet? All right, excellent. So
Yes.
you'll see this, you know, you have here, there's the voter ID, last name, first name, middle name, ballot request type, the address. And as you keep scrolling along, you'll see like when they have here, when was the ballot request received? In other words, when did they receive your request that you wanted mail-in ballots? And column Y is ballot mail date. Like this is when your ballot was mailed to you. So you see this was the first batch on June 10th. There's a whole bunch of mail-in ballots there. And in column Z, you have ballot counted status. So here it's marked, you know, they haven't been counted yet, but they're marked received. Right. So this tells you if you're the person on row 6 here, they have received your ballot. It's there. And later in the process, when they start doing, you know, the counting, if your ballot was rejected for any reason, that status will change to rejected. Like you can see if the signature didn't match or anything else, that status would change. And let's see, ballot counted status and county name. So as you scroll down, there's quite a few ballots that have been sent out. But this is Old Bridge and Piscataway. You can sort by the municipality. If I click enable editing here, you know, where you could put a filter on the municipality. So you just see Piscataway, et cetera. There's a lot of ways to play with this.
And Bill, just to let you know, possibly on my screen, I
Hang
couldn't
on a
see
second, Ralph. I'm
Froze at this point.
I think
Yeah, I couldn't see it either.
I thought it was on.
You get the front screen so we can see the site and the first mail-in ballot list, but we're not getting down into the files.
Right. That's why I was going to say.
Gotcha. So that's, yeah, it was on the, I think it was still sharing the internet screen. So this should do.
Thank you.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. So now it's actually on the screen again.
Yeah.
Voter ID, last name, first name, middle name, everything I went through before. When they received your request for a mail-in ballot, when they mailed the ballot in that column, and then the status, whether or not they received the ballot. So it's all there on these spreadsheets that continually get updated, and you know, anyone can download. So that's among the reasons that I have a great deal of confidence in this process.
Right.
The other question that had come in, Steve, I hope that was responsive. If not, you've got my you have my email. Reach out to me directly.
And we share this post, so you can always go back to the full.
Right.
Go back to the tiny URL, so you can walk yourself through this. So this post, as always, after every broadcast, will be shared and downloaded, so you can go back and refer to it.
So from Courtney, and I want everyone to speak to this a little bit because I don't want to answer for everyone, but it came in. I love how you are educating us weekly. Thank you. We appreciate that. You know, will you continue this format if you win? I'm going to kick it over to the council candidates in a second. I just want to say, you know, I was actually thinking about this morning. You know, for sure, I think, you know, I'm willing to continue it if we win. I think everyone on the stream is. I think that's a terrific idea. But I was like, well, what if we don't?
We're still doing it.
Exactly. You know, maybe not every week, but
all the way up.
we got the technology figured out now, so you know we can keep on going with it. But I'll stop talking. I've talked for a while. Let you guys.
Well,
Go ahead, sorry, Laura.
Well, I just want to point out one thing, that, you know, one of the first things that we have said, and I've said it since I ran for county committee, and I went on door to door to people, and I'm happy to represent Possumtown 310, is open, transparent government, meaning we have taken it upon ourselves. We are the people, we are the progressive Democrats of this town who have organized citizens to go to the meetings and sit there with our iPhones and let the township know what's going on. So we are using this technology. We have been using this technology to open and shed the light on what's going on in our town. So 110%, I'm happy to continue to do this.
Yeah, and the same thing as Laura and Bill. You know me, I'm big with dialogue and transparency and just communication. I've always said that the people of this town is what makes it great. So it's important that the people are heard from. It's important that those commissions are fully restored and that we actually introduce new initiatives for other advisory councils where other groups need to have a voice. We need a small business administration subgroup or advisory. We need a young people or youth or retirees. There's so many subgroups in this community whose voices need to be heard. We have done community forums. When the legalization of pot was being at the center of attention in the state, we hosted an event to get the community involved and engaged to understand, well, what does that look like, not in the state of New Jersey, what's that gonna look like in Piscataway? So we took these state and national issues and tried to create forums and invitations and events for people to get that information. We have done chat and choose. Stacy and I have always at Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you, Dunkin' Donuts, River Road, and sitting down with people. We have had house meetings in some of your houses before COVID-19 just to talk to you. This is what we like to do anyway as your neighbor. So I don't think a position, again, I always tell you, I care more about people than I care about positions or possessions. So my position is not going to change my action. I think I'm still going to be that same Kamula who's out there talking to you, making sure that whoever's in power hear your voice. And I don't think that's going to stop whether we win or lose.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, as you mentioned, the proof is in the pudding. We have been doing it for years, although we're not elected officials. So why would it stop then? What amazes me, as I mentioned, living here for nearly 20 years, 10 of those years has been from the mayor and the council of trying to stop the voice, stop putting us in front of people, because we get real answers. And we may not even have all the answers, but we will research you and get it back to you to say, okay, this is the way you can do it. This is the manner in which way it goes. This is how this process works. Time and time again, I get calls about city complaints and how do I do this? And I give kudos for when things are right. We're not here to bash, we're here to improve. So it would definitely continue. I definitely want more forums. Obviously, I'm a big advocate for children, seniors, and special at-risk youth, and also the homeless community and veterans. I'm a big union guy. I'm in a battle of a union dispute right now regarding healthcare. I love to be one of the big four unions fighting those things. So the proof has been in the pudding, and we've been here. So we will continue.
Yep.
So we could ask Mayor Waller for a comment on this question. You know, if you win, will you do weekly live streams into Piscataway people where your folks can engage with you? Wait, he's not. He's not here. Sorry, I guess.
Listen, Bill, he's not here to answer for himself, and we're not going to put words in his mouth because that's unsanitary.
That's true. So we're not going to put, but he can certainly get a Facebook account and answer the question in Piscataway people. The technology is pretty straightforward, right? Yeah, I think those are all great answers. You know, we have to model whether you're elected or not. You know, whether you win or not, you have to model the behavior that you want to see in government. You know, do the things that you would have done if you won, to the extent that you can. Of course, as not an elected official, you can't maybe directly make policy, but you can bring things to light. You can have the debate. You can keep your neighbors informed. You know, you can make sure that people are in touch with each other in your community. You know, as we've seen recently during the recent crisis, to help each other out. There's a lot of things that you can do. You know, even if you ran for a county committee in your district, you know, maybe you lost by a couple votes, that's okay. Just for the next couple of years, just act as though you were the elected county committee person, you know, and let people see you in action and build that confidence. And that's how you build over time a movement of people. You know, that's how you make progress and change. We did get a question. Somebody asked how they could donate before, which of course is a question we always appreciate. So try this screen share again. If you go to Peeway, not 3030.com, we're not there yet, Peeway2020.com. The big blue button here up top that says donate. Yes, it worked. All right. So if you, that'll take you to an ActBlue page where you could donate. Also, that is the Peeway 2020 homepage. So as we mentioned before, click here to learn more about the campaign. Here's all of our previous campaign presentations, videos, and slides. The platform is up here. Quite a bit of content at this point. We had vote by mail instructions here. Oh, there's Nikki. So we're and later today I've got to do some website work right above, right here on the homepage pretty prominently. We'll try and build a whole page with voting information and to answer voting questions so that's real easy to find. There will be, and part of the information that will be on that page, of course, on election day, there will be physical locations, I believe at the Piscataway High School and at the Senior Center, where folks can go cast provisional ballots. If they didn't get a chance to vote by mail, they didn't get their new ballot in time, any number of things could happen. If you or if you just want to vote physically, that is your right. I think that the vote by mail process is terrific for the reasons I mentioned earlier, but it's not for me to say how you choose to vote. I always love going to the machine. There's not going to be machines this year, so I was happy to do it by mail. But just be aware that if you go to the physical locations on election day, there's not going to be a voting machine there. There's going to be a paper provisional ballot that you're going to have to fill out. And there's only going to be 2 locations for all of Piscataway, the high school and the senior center. And it takes a little time to fill those paper ballots out. So just be prepared. We can't tell in advance what the lines are going to be like, how many folks are going to want to do that. But just be safe, be sure to wear your mask, be prepared for the idea that it might take a little while. But if you can, we'd really encourage the return of the vote by mail ballots. Also, I think as Ralph mentioned, there's the lockbox at the Municipal Center, Town Hall, where you can drop off a completed vote by mail ballot if you don't want to put it in the mail. You can also go down to the Board of Elections in East Brunswick. That's how I delivered my ballot the other day, because I was down there anyway, and just delivered it in the lobby. And they're happy to take them from you there, and they keep a record of it. Let's see, what else did we have questions wise? So a question, what do you think about small business development, like creating a pedestrian bike-friendly shopping district along North Stoughton and New Market?
Again, that's something that came up with our candidates chat and chew. We actually got to speak to a neighbor who was a big proponent of having a bike path, not only in our community, but for those who work in the New Brunswick area that leads along the Raritan River. So again, the community has brought a lot of wonderful ideas from our chat and chews that we would love to try to push forward and investigate and see how we can do it. Dog parks, a community garden, a community food market. There's so many things that we can do. We're like the diamond in the rough. These are ideas that came from you all, not something from me, but I agreed and I saw the benefit of that for this community to have those things. So I'm a big proponent of doing those, as well as other things that sometimes we don't think of, but you as neighbors have come up with a bunch of wonderful ideas that I'd love to see implemented in this town. And I think it's doable. Nothing that's unrealistic. We definitely have the space and the land for now to do some of these things. And we want to utilize that space. And for those who are big on trying to preserve that which we do have, I got your back. I've always joked and said, I'm not a tree hugger, but boy, do I miss a lot of the trees that I saw and when I first moved to Piscataway. It does make a big difference. I have children who have asthma, so trying to preserve the history of this town is a big proponent, is a big issue that I'd like to move forward with as well, and that's something we didn't bring up.
I just want to piggyback on what Nikki is saying. You know, one of the things that I've said very often to the council when I've spoken to them is that we can and we should be the leaders in Middlesex County on so many of these fronts and opportunities. We have been here since the 1700s. Along the canal, we've had architectural digs along the Raritan River to show that we have been here for almost 300 years. And we need to be the leaders in all of these things: small business, walkability, and we can write grants. Again, tapping into the strong resources and the network of people that live in our town that have all kinds of strengths and skills that they could bring to the township. Absolutely, pedestrian areas, outdoor seating areas, all of these things would add amazing opportunities for local businesses, citizens, bringing people, continuing to bring amazing families that want to live and work in Piscataway.
Absolutely. You said it, Laura. You said it.
I think Ralph's internet connection may have cut out on him, ironically enough, because he dropped off. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin us. We got another question in. How many other Middlesex County towns are having primaries? Why is Piscataway special? It's almost like a 4 questions, right? Why is this night different from others? So now the primary is taking place, of course, across Middlesex. The Democratic primary is taking place in any town, in every town across the state. What makes Piscataway special is that there's actually a choice in the Democratic primary. You have Democratic candidates, again, as we mentioned at length before, both members of the Democratic Party, right, on each side, column A and column B, but you have a choice which Democrats you want representing you. And I think Piscataway may be unique in Middlesex County in this primary election with actually having primary challengers. And I think that's a problem. Now, folks may be perfectly happy everywhere else with the leadership they have. They may be happy with it here. That's their choice. But you need a choice. You need competition. I mean, it's sort of basic economics, right? When we talked about the internet connection before, you have competition. Like that forces people to be better, to be more responsive to either their customers or their constituents, depending on whether you're talking about private corporations or public entities. Competition is healthy. It's good. It strengthens the party. It strengthens the process. It gets more people involved. It gets more people excited about being involved, about voting, about governance. You get those turnout numbers up, and that translates into greater turnout in the general election as well. And all of that is important, but it speaks to the power that the party bosses and the machine has, that it's comparatively rare to see these primary challenges. Why? Because people know that they're incredibly difficult to win, and they're incredibly difficult to do. When you put yourself out there to run in a primary, all of a sudden from the establishment, you become like public enemy number 1, right? Like, oh, well, how dare you run against us? Well, the job isn't yours by right. we do get to participate too. Other people get to run. Other people get to compete. But folks know if they put themselves out there, they catch a lot of backlash. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had this election cycle with just regular people in Piscataway who are like, look, we're with you. We don't want to be public about it because we fear retaliation. And that's a real thing. And it really blows my mind, like that there's this atmosphere of fear that is created. People can't publicly say that they support, someone different because they're afraid that the folks in power are going to somehow get back at them. And that's Ralph, you've joined us again. That's real. It is real. It happens.
I've witnessed some canvassing where signs were put up and all of a sudden the signs were taken back down in support.
Yep. Right.
Don't let people.
The culture of retaliation is not something that you see in a healthy democracy. It is something that you see in authoritarian forms of government.
Ironically, seeing it in the White House.
Exactly. That's where I was headed.
Yeah.
I was gonna go to Putin, but yeah, you took it there.
Yeah, that's, I mean, we
Yes, I had
president
internet
wants to be
problems.
dictator. I'm sorry, Ralph, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, sorry, I had internet problems, dropped off. So I guess we really do have broadband. But no, honestly, fear of retaliation, fear of being an individual, fear of having your voice not heard and being silenced and we really have to stop that. And the same thing with our Democratic Party, fear of the Green New Deal, fear of brand new voices, fear of women coming into Congress. Why? For what reason? Sharing ideas is the best way to collaborate, to move forward, to find solutions that you may not know the answer to. And I've seen it so much. And even with our young people recently were reaching out to have their voices heard. And I've noticed that it's amazing. A lot of our young people have gotten away from the cultural problems that they've inherited as they've grown up, that their parents may have had, that they passed down to them. When we talk about racism in America, I noticed our people don't look at it at that view. They really do internalize that we're all the same and that we share each other, that I grow up with you, I eat with you. And it's really amazing to watch this happen. I never thought these things would manifest, but they have. In my lifetime, I thought there would be a black president, but there has been. I never thought there would be a woman candidate for president, but it has come. So eventually that will come to become true as well. I never thought that the cries for diversity and racism, that police brutality that actually exists, that people would actually see it and come together. But you see this thing as an international movement. People have to get along, and they have to understand that you have to be inclusive. And as teachers, all of you have education and been teachers, we've always had arguments between tolerance and inclusion. And I see this happen in the Democratic Party. One that says, well, we'll just deal with you because you're here, whatever. One says, we truly honor and embrace you and come in. So yes, use your voices, people. Vote by mail. Come into the Senior Citizen Center or to Piscataway if you feel that is not. But vote. Activate your voices. That's the one thing I think they're really scared of, is because now people can truly do it at the comfort of their home and vote how they truly feel.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, just like that, I see we're at about the hour and 10-minute mark. Time does fly on us. I don't think we have any more live questions today. We still do have a few questions that have come in via email that we haven't gotten to, but we'll be back next week, so maybe that's what we'll be tackling. Although it may be July 4th next Saturday. Is July 4th next Saturday?
Yes.
Back in the
it is.
days, yeah. So
We'll talk about it.
4th of July. Well, we'll celebrate Independence Day by looking for some independence here in Piscataway. So we'll be on. We'll spend our hour with the folks. Anyone that wants to join us before their barbecues and celebrations of the day.
Backyard fireworks.
Yeah.
Safely.
Yeah, folks. I mean, July 4th. It's one thing that let's take it easy on the every night fireworks like this.
Yeah.
people got to sleep. There's been and their pets and their dogs. Our dog heads for the hills. Your firecracker starts shaking. Like July 4th. Okay, we get it. But every night we really we don't need to do that. We do want to remind everyone, as we've been saying, right, that your vote counts. Right? Like we did last week, we want to remind everyone that your vote really counts in the primary. The way the machine keeps going is that it will turn out the people that it controls to vote for it every year. That's why it's called a machine. But while they do control a lot of votes, it's only a small fraction of the total possible vote. From 2013 to 2015, Piscataway primary turnout averaged 3%. These are all downloadable on the county clerk's website. You can check out the voting information. That means 97% of the people had no real say in who won the elections in November that year. And, sometimes folks don't realize that the real election in Piscataway is the primary election. Whoever wins in the primary goes on to win in November. Certainly for the last 50 years, and unless something pretty dramatic changes in the demographics of the town, that's probably going to continue for quite some time. So, but the folks that are in power count on people not realizing that. They don't particularly want them to vote in the primary election. But that's starting to change. From 2017 to 19, when we started offering folks a choice in the primary, turnout went up 4 times, which is significant. But it's still only 13%, right? That's still not enough. So now this year you're getting these ballots sent right to your house, right? So please remember to fill out those ballots and send them in. Your vote really counts in the primary thing, but the lower the turnout is, the more weight your personal vote has. So it's important that we get those turnout numbers up. And when we do, we can implement a new agenda for Piscataway. One that puts the people of our community first, not the big campaign donors and the political insiders. We want to open Piscataway's government for all with term limits. We want to broadcast meetings. We want to post all the information online and even more. Again, this is pway2020.com. It's all in the platform there. We want to support tax fairness, invest in our community. We want to be a green community. Of course, we want to fight for progress and oppose the backwards and fascist policies of Donald Trump. And we want to elect new leaders. So as we mentioned, to find out more about the Dems on Your Side campaign and candidates, go to pway2020.com. All the information is there. We will be trying to add that voting information page today. That'll take a few hours, so bear with us. And did we have any last minute questions on the Facebook Live? Okay, it doesn't appear that they came in. So again, today's program will be posted at pway2020.com, where you can find our past programs. And also, unlike the machine, we do want to hear from you. Please feel free. Again, our numbers and personal emails are on the campaign materials we sent out. They've been posted. But we also invite you to take an online community survey to tell us about your concerns and priorities for township action. It's at tinyurl.com, PWay survey. So please take a moment to let us know your thoughts, or just reach out to us directly. We really are always happy to talk. And if you don't get us at first, please do leave a message so we can get back to you. And finally, we'd like to invite Piscataway voters to get involved and unplug the Smith-Waller machine. Become part of this campaign to take back the government of Piscataway for the folks that live here. If you're tired of the same career politicians and political insiders running the show for their benefit year after year, and you want to do something about it, we encourage you to go to these links below to become part of this campaign. Of course, you can just go to pway2020.com as well, and you'll get there. And since we do not take contributions from developers, political insiders, and special interests that currently control the town, if you want to make a small contribution to our campaign, please go to tinyurl.com, pway2020 donate, or just pway2020.com and the donate button, as we mentioned before. With that, I'll turn it back to the council candidates if they want to make any closing remarks today.
I just want to say thank you to my running mates for empowering me, challenging me, informing me. We're just growing together. It's amazing to see in the last few years how much I have grown in this process. So thank you all for that. Thank you, Piscataway, friends near and far who have donated to our campaign. It is mind-blowing, the support that's been given, not only through the Facebook Live and the support and the sharing of our feeds, but through your financial contributions. They mean a lot to us. As we've said, we're not career politicians. Lord knows some of us can't even afford to be in this race, but we're and it's thanks to the support of people like you all who are just trying to give us the wind that we need beneath our wings to continue to soar, to speak for you. And lastly, but not least, just be informed. I'm always imploring the fact that you just get the information. So if you have not been following us, If you're still not sure, we newbies, I don't know, they all the same, please go to our page. Take a look at some of the Facebook Live conversations that we did have about issues that probably do affect you, or probably concerns that you also have. Get the information. And once you're informed, then make the best decision for you and your family. We are imploring you that you vote for us, but again, inform yourself with the information we've been able to research and provide to you as part of your guide in going to the polls and making that choice. So again, thank you for the opportunity to just be a source of information for you. And thank you so much for being the people of Piscataway that you are. True, brutally honest sometimes, but sincerely, genuinely loving this town. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. I am running for town council. I currently am the county committee person for 310, the Possum Town section of Piscataway. And, just again, to bring in the people of Piscataway when I'm walking around town, when I'm walking through my neighborhood, talking about an engaged citizenry and an engaged electorate. It's wonderful to have people ask you questions, point out things that we've been bringing up, getting questions on my Facebook page, on my email, my text messages. It's really been wonderful to see the engagement and the excitement around this campaign. I did just want to take a moment to connect my personal background, which is somebody with really a lifetime of work and advocacy for people with special needs. It's been very heart-wrenching for me to see this week the uptick in attention to the murder of Elijah McClain. He really stands out to me as really just a classic terrible intersection of a Black man with special needs. When I look at who that person was, and I think about many of the students that I have dealt with, it really just breaks my heart. And I just want to take a moment this week in public to just acknowledge who that man was. Really has nothing to do with Piscataway, but we have a public voice here. And I just want to take that moment. So thank you, Piscataway, and I definitely look forward to speaking to you next week and the weeks after that, and have a great Saturday, everybody.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Nikki. This has been a very trying week for me, actually. I've worked 3 doubles, including in-service, along with debates for healthcare, for the unionships, and then moving into a new integrated system in terms of criminal management. So it's been, hectic. But I also want to thank the Zion Hill Baptist Church family, that this was the end of our vacation Bible school, which actually gave me the energy to move forward. So it was really a credit to them, and just reading the word really ties into what we're talking about voting. This whole week was about, the adoption into God's family and Christian values that we call the kingdom values. And we kept talking about democracy and what do we represent? We represent the values, and it's very common in today's society to move past those values to get to the newer things. And you think of people like the Amish, they're giving up technology, giving up phones, and all in honor to their values and to their Christian. But a lot of us can't do away with those. If you put your phone down right now, you may be surprised at how you function, because you're so dependent upon those things. So I look at our family here, and we truly are friends and family. We truly break bread together, eat. We just don't say it or talk about it. Our kids know each other. And I think that really helps because we can be honest with each other about governing. A lot of my Republican friends out there, and I speak to them all the time. I talk to the Santos, the Kipnis, the Badillos, the Santos, the Tatianos. I can go on and on that we have discussions about democracy and Democrats. And they always ask me, are you willing to hold other Democrats accountable? I say, yes, that's what we're here for. We don't just get along to get along, or go along to get along. And that's what I appreciate about this, because there are voices, we're inclusive, We want to hear from the people. We want to represent the people. Obviously, we've been talking about our backgrounds. We've been doing it for years to come. So why not do it for council where we can actively have a seat at the table and then affect policy and changes to affect the people that we serve. So again, thank you everyone for the opportunity to come to your homes and to listen to us. And thank you for guiding us as well and putting us in the direction where you think we should be. So again, thank you. It's been an honor.
Awesome. I just want to thank Kamula and Ralph and Laura for this experience of running with you. It's been terrific. And also all the people in Piscataway that have reached out to us, that have challenged us, pushed back, made us really think through our positions on the issues. It's just terrific to represent you. We look forward to representing you. And it's just been an exciting time. And we're very thankful for all the support and kind things and words that you've given to us throughout this campaign. There's still some time left in this campaign, so we'll be back next week. And there's still some time to vote. If you haven't gotten those ballots in yet, please get those ballots in. Please vote. Very important that we get turnout way up in this election. And when you do vote, please do remember that we are the Dems on your side in column A. Please fill out and return that ballot, and we hope that you'll vote for us, Bill Irwin for mayor, Kamula Tillman, Ralph Johnson, and Laura Leibowitz for council. Remember, if you're a registered independent or unaffiliated voter, you need to send back your vote by mail application in order to get a ballot. If you're a registered Democrat, you should have received a ballot. And again, if you're having problems with that or the process, please feel free to reach out to us. There's a generic email address down there at pwayprogressives @gmail.com. But, our information, BillJIrwin.bi@gmail.com. Is my email, so you can reach me directly there. And that is all we have for you today. So we look forward to seeing you soon. Keep an eye out on Facebook for information on our next live stream, which I believe will be same time, same place next Saturday. And have a great rest of the weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Take care, everybody. Have a good week.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.